Sådär ja, då är vi tillbaka här i studion och nästa bolag som ska presentera och den här gången på länk är LL Lucky Games. And I'm gonna switch to English because the CEO is from Canada. Welcome, Julian.
Thanks for having me. CCO, actually.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries. I'm replacing the CEO for this particular presentation. He unfortunately got stuck in another meeting.
So I'm going to hand over to you and you can do your presentation now. And then once I come back, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, thanks again for having me. My name is Julian Borg-Barthet. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for Lady Luck Games. We're a company that formed 3 years ago, primarily producing slot games and casual casino games for the global gaming market. What I mean by gaming is real money gambling games across the world. So as I just said, I am replacing our fantastic CEO, Mads Jorgensen, who was meant to do this presentation. So you're going to have to deal with me instead. Just going to move through the presentation. I'll just comment on each slide. This is not my presentation, so I'm going to do my utmost to support it as much as I can. So over the past 12 months, we've accomplished quite a bit. There's been a restructuring of the company in terms of personnel and the way that we produce games. This has had a massively positive impact on our roadmap going forward with the types of games we produce and how we distribute them. My primary role within the organization is to solidify routes to market by aggregators and direct integrations to operators all across the globe in conjunction with the licenses that we obtain. And I'll talk more about that further down the line. Earlier this year, I'll cover it further in the presentation, but some brief highlights. We acquired our second company, which is Real Energy Games. They produced almost 40 games within the industry, and they've been around for a number of years. We've adopted their collection of licenses and distribution channels, as well as their platform, Storm RGS, which we have taken on board and restructured around. I'll dive more into that and the features that presents and the benefits that presents to the company in terms of our overall assets and future growth. We've also strengthened the team. If you've heard our presentations before, we brought on Stephanie Concilio, who is our head of account management, to primarily push our content within our existing operators and aggregators and make sure that if we are recognized in casino lobbies, that we get primary positions where we need to be. And that is through the likes of pushing promotion, discounts, and making sure that we are front and center to players at all times. Finally, we finalized a direct share issue of 3 million SEK, and took in 16 million to pay off debt and strength and development team because of the King Features agreement that we've made. We were also shortlisted with two awards organizations, which are Casino Beats and EGR awards. That was 4 categories. Unfortunately, we didn't win this time, but we're on track to be producing the types of games and get market share in order to win those awards soon, I hope. We've released Treasures of Tizoc and a reboot of an existing popular game of ours, which was Valhalla Wild Hammers. And luckily enough, we've also released the first King Features game, which is Beetle Bailey, which we'll be talking about later on as well. Through these, our new account management strategy, we've managed to solidify exclusives with these games with the likes of Novibet and Come On Group, as well as Ajarabet. These are key tier 1 players in their specific markets, which is how we are pushing ourselves out to gain those exclusivities on a regular basis with each release that we've got. Our collaboration with First Look Games, which I've talked about in previous interviews, has given us the opportunity to reach more affiliates. So we're seeing more press releases, more affiliate coverage with affiliates that are tied to millions of players worldwide. So the exposure that we're getting is absolutely immense, and it's paying off already. In terms of the team that we employ here at Lady Luck Games, we have Mads Jorgensen, who is our CEO, and his co-founder, Rasmus Goldberg-Kjær, who is our creative director. Rasmus joins us from a very lengthy career in the console industry. He produced the game Hitman, which is available on PlayStation, Xbox, as well as other platforms. And he's produced all those titles, including working on both hit movies that were produced on that brand. We're also lucky to have Vadim Fedorov, our vice president of R&D, who has taken us to this point in the journey of Lady Luck in terms of the technology that we've employed and we built in-house. In-house being our own RGS, as well as the two that we've acquired through acquisition of the Spigo assets last year and Real Energy this year. I myself have joined the company from the compliance side of the industry, working with two of the largest labs in the gambling space, which is GLI and BMM. I've got an extensive career working in B2B and B2C, and built two brands out of that. Andres joins us from the operator side of the industry as our CFO, and we are lucky to have Calvin Kent, who's the ex-CEO of Real Energy, join us full-time as our CTO. Calvin brings his knowledge and experience within the industry, within the sector, as well as championing the Storm RGS, which I'll talk about later on. In terms of our board, I'm not going to go into detail about our board members, but I do want to talk about our chairman. Our chairman is Per Eriksson. He's the ex-CEO of Net Entertainment, which is one of the biggest slot providers within the industry, who were acquired by Evolution Gaming a couple of years ago. We're very lucky to have his support and his guidance where need be. So business is only as strong as its team. We're powered by people, and this is why our international team is built of iGaming professionals with strong knowledge and understanding of the industry. We currently have a diverse team of experienced individuals on board located in Denmark, Sweden, Latvia, Malta, and I myself am based in the United Kingdom with two of our other team, which is Calvin Kent and Harsharan Kent Gill, who is our production manager for games production. In a nutshell, we develop casino games. We've got 80 plus games in the portfolio with 22 market certifications. Experienced team behind it. We're all data driven. We look at the numbers to find out what we're going to produce next. There are all trials and tribulations in regards to what game comes out, what game is popular. We work quite hard in that respect. We are a mobile first company. You'll find that the majority of players, 80 to 90%, will play on their mobile phone in portrait mode. And that is where we're pushing our content in the future to make sure that all of our content is optimized or developed from the ground up to be ready for those 80 to 90% of those players. In terms of the portfolios, we've got 31 slot games from the Lady Luck portfolio. They have all evolved over the 3 years that we've been producing games. And right now, our latest games contain feature sets that are quite extensive in regards to buy-in bonuses for the bonus rounds, free spins, gamble features. All of our games take advantage of as much of what players are looking for as we can throw at them. And we're constantly doing research to see exactly what our customers are after and develop and adapt our games as we go along. And you will see from the Valhalla Wild Hammers reboot, we've taken all the great stuff we put in the original Valhalla, Hall of the Slain, and we've adapted that and made it even better for the next, for the next version. And we're going to be doing that a lot. In Mr. Alchemister, which you'll see at the bottom right of the page, we're about to release our next title, Astro Anna, which is based on the same slot mechanic, which is using spinning pipes to connect to a bonus or a win. So we're, again, using our data, using our research, and really building great games. When we acquired Spigo's assets last year, we brought on board 11 casual casino games. These casual casino games play very, very well in certain markets. Specifically in the Nordics, they're doing incredibly well. And we are signing some more deals that are really focused at the tier 1 level of operators, whether that's a national lottery or a tier 1 casino, where they're taking full advantage of the appeal of these types of games to transition regular players that see these games as something that they want to play for fun and as a casual, long play game into something that they might want to play a more professional slot in the future. It's something that operators are after, and it's something that they're proactively calling us for these types of games now. Real Energy brought us 40 games. We're about to release 2 more games in the near future, which was part of their original roadmap, which we've taken on board and we will be releasing soon. Ice Kingdom being one of those titles that will be released in December. We're really excited about this game, and it does fit in with the roadmap that we're going forward. It's the right type of game for the right season. So we don't only build games for ourselves, we build games for other people. We built some bespoke games for Downspill, which has been we've been a favored partner of theirs for a number of years. Villa Vendetta and Fiskekuteren, and I really apologize about my pronunciation, have been highly successful on Tivoli Casino. And we just released Kolinahaven earlier this year, and the numbers seem very, very promising. So we're seeing Downspill players really giving great feedback on these types of games. So our products are unique. As I've said, we produce unique mechanics like the pipe mechanics. We've got rooftop fights, which is something nobody's ever seen before. Madame Clues is another one. It's literally a 1 symbol game, 1 row, 1 column. Symbols come out of a crystal ball and flash in and out. Something none of our operator partners have seen, and they just warm to something that really stands out in their portfolio of thousands of games. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stand out. Storm RGS. It's something that I was touching on before. The Storm RGS comes from Real Energy. It was built from the ground up by Calvin Kent, who now stands as our CTO. Calvin built an amazing remote gaming system that we're now building and using that as our primary way of deploying games on all the aggregators that we are tied into. And the reason why we're doing that is it is more modern, it is more data focused, and it also has the tournament engines and promotional tools that we need to take that extra step towards becoming a real tier 1 casino slots provider. Again, we are data driven, and that comes from the Storm RGS. We are the way we can look at our data in terms of segmentation of players, regions, and how well we can compare one game to another, to an operator, to a particular region. Why a game is playing better in Greece as opposed to Italy. Whether an RTP of 96% might play better than 1 in 94. Sort of A/B testing in that respect. It's gotten us to a really, really good place where we are now taking that further data and really focusing on how we're building our games. It's just much better position for us to be in. In regards to King Features, in regards to the global gaming market, it is a $59 billion US market, which we're very, very proud to be in. It's the share of obviously casino suppliers in the industry, there are over 300. We're not going to beat around the bush and saying that we are one of a handful of suppliers, but we do differentiate ourselves. And to get that market share is by penetrating the market in multiple regions and carrying all those licenses that we require. I'm just going to skip through a couple of things because obviously we're very short on time. I've only got 4 minutes left. I will talk about our market expansion. We are pushing ourselves into more and more regulated markets. Some require licenses, some don't, but they do require certification, and we are certifying our games in 22 markets across Europe and Latin America, and we are now pushing into Canada with an active license application in Ontario. In terms of our partners, we are building on a weekly basis who we're integrated into and who is helping us with distribution. These are a mixture of direct integrations with operators that are happy for us to be on board. Remember, they have over 300 studios to choose from, but we are already being recognized as a leader in our space. And we are having aggregators and operators actively calling us up, which is great to be in terms of position. We are releasing our first Megaways game. Megaways is a mechanic that's been popular across the globe for a number of years. We are on the tail end of that, but there is still a primary position for Megaways games on a lot of different operators with their own tab, meaning we're competing in a lobby of dozens of games instead of thousands. And Spinjoy Society Megaways is going to be our first release. I'm going to skip between a few things in terms of our Nasdaq listing. I'm doing this presentation, you already know about that. Real Energy acquisition I've discussed already. Just going to go through. Yes, we do have a partnership with CYG-PTE, which was recently signed last week. This is a Philippines-based company that is going to assist us with distribution in that particular market, which gives us also an opportunity to get into the multi-million dollar land-based side of the Philippines market. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and to have them on board with us is a phenomenal opportunity for us. In terms of how we're getting ourselves out there, we've got a very, very strong marketing and account management team, and we are pushing ourselves in every single event where we can, in terms of either representing through building a stand or networking. You should see us on LinkedIn. The amount of followers we managed to get is second to some of the biggest tier 1 providers out there. We're actively doing as many interviews as possible to get ourselves in the news media, and I think we're doing a great job. Again, Asurana is going to be released as our second slot mechanic utilizing pipes. Spinjoy Megaways is out there, and we're going to be releasing publ in January of next year, which is our second King's Features title, which we're really, really proud of. King Features has already seen the initial game, and they're super excited to have this relationship and see where we're going from Beetle Bailey to the second title of publ. And I guess that's it for me. I think I'm bang on time. I'm ready for your questions.
Oh, thank you very much, Julian. You're exactly right. You're right on time. And I was listening to your presentation, and I wanted to know a little bit more about how you differentiate yourself from other competitors.
Yeah, it's it's a difficult one with over 300 different game providers in the industry. That's a very loose number because there's a lot of them that are being acquired, merged, gone out of business. We're standing outside in regards to a portfolio, because we have a portfolio of over 80 games with casual casino games, real energy games, which don't really align with the Lady Luck games, but they play very, very well in certain markets. And the longevity of those real energy games have been phenomenal, and they're still going strong. And the Lady Luck games, the mechanics, the differentiators in terms of rooftop fights, Madame Clues, they really stand out, and we're being identified for that within that 300 provider list. And I think we really stand out.
You finished your presentation and by speaking a bit about this agreement that you enter with CYG. Can you just speak a little bit more about this and how important that deal is for Lady Luck Games?
Yeah, that deal is still evolving in terms of the details of that. I don't really want to go too much into it until we have something really, really great to present. I can say that it is insanely beneficial for us, especially in that particular market within Asia. And I sort of touch on the land-based side of things in the Philippines. It is a robust market that's been around for years, and it is non-traditional when you look at land-based gaming in other sectors like Macau or Vegas. It's different. But it plays more towards the online games and the land-based presence, and to be able to be partnered with them and have our content front and center, we're expecting some great benefits from that, as well as their distribution online. We're really excited, but I don't want to talk too much about it.
No, I understand. Yeah. Well, you did mention that you guys are pushing into Canada. Can you say something more about this?
Yeah, I'm Canadian myself. Well, a little bit more complicated than that. I've been living in the UK and Malta. I am Maltese Canadian, if you want to put it. So it's close to my heart. I sort of touched on my history within the gaming space. I spent almost 8-9 years in the compliance side. So I built a lab called NMI, and we grew from about 5 jurisdictions up to over, between 30 and 40 by the time I left the organization, because we sold it to GLI, which was our biggest competitor. So one of those key areas that really brought our company up to the tier 1 status of testing houses within the gambling space was the entry into the Canadian market with British Columbia Lottery Corporation, Lotto Quebec, ALC, and all of the provincial lotteries. Ontario wasn't around, but it was always talked about. So I have a lot of great connections within the Canadian Gaming Association, Mr. Paul Burns, Tom Mungham from the AGCO in Toronto. We've been talking for years about Ontario opening up. So I've already got personally, I've got a foothold in Ontario, and I want to take full advantage of that. We're already talking to a lot of operators and distributors down there, and we've already signed a landmark deal for distribution to get us into that market once we are fully licensed and certified.
Exciting. So hopefully we're going to hear some great news about Canada and the Canadian market.
Yeah.
So speaking about the future, where do you hope to see Lady Luck Games in, let's say, 3 years?
In 3 years? That's a great question. Our growth strategy is it's organic, and it's also by acquisition. We still want to identify some great companies that we can acquire, companies that are going to complement our offering. The key reason why we are gaining a steady presence within the industry, is the diversity of what we can offer. We're not just selling 50 games that all look the same and have the same mechanics. We stand out, and this is the strategy that we want to be. We want to buy more companies. We want to build some great differentiating games. Where we're going to be in 3 years, We want to be a tier one. We want to be right up there. We want to be ripe for acquisition, or we want to be the acquirer. I'm sort of leaning on both sides, but there's a lot of ambition within the organization, and we're all pulling together. It's a great team to work with.
I noticed that your team is made up of, as it looks like, mostly men. Is it difficult finding women who want to work in this industry?
I actually did a quick run through that the other day, especially with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're actually almost 50% women within the organization. My team are all wonderful, talented women that I wouldn't trade for anybody else. I would love to have more women on our board, and eventually we will get there. But yeah, I think we're almost an even split.
Great. It's a work in progress, obviously.
And it's a work in progress. Yes.
You mentioned earlier that you were going to, or that you have had a cost-saving project going on in the last months. How has that turned out?
It's actually worked out better than we thought. The consolidation was difficult. We had some hard choices to make, but we now have a direction that I think is very, very promising. We were running 3 RGSs, so 3 platforms to distribute games, and to be able to focus and rebrand the Storm RGS that came from Real Energy and really focus on that and start porting games, talking to our partners about how this is going to work and how this is going to benefit them. We've gotten some great feedback already. So it's going well, let's say.
Good.
But I do want to stress it's going well. It's still a work in progress.
Good to hear. And speaking about focus, what are you guys focusing on right now?
Mostly distribution. We've got a lot of catching up to do. We want to make sure that we are represented with all key tier 1 aggregation services, which is more difficult than it looks because every tier 1 aggregator wants exclusivity. They want to have Lady Luck exclusive in certain markets with certain operators. So finding that balance, finding the right rates, finding the right partner, it's quite difficult, but we're getting there.
Got a question here in the live chat who wants to know if there are any more regulated markets except from the Philippines that you are considering right now.
The U.S., Latin America, U.S. especially. Again, it's from my history and through our board and through a number of our partners, we've got great reach within the U.S. We just need the licenses to show for it. And licensing has proved difficult. It's been quite difficult, especially in Europe. But getting that foundation where we want it to be, as in the restructuring that we've done, once we finish with Ontario, we're going to be moving into New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and start really pushing the envelope in terms of the US.
Well, Julian, thank you so much for joining me today over Teams, and I wish you the best with moving forward with your company.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.